II. Conventional narratives posit that the United States lacked weapons production capability worth mentioning before the war. According to this interpretation, the Roosevelt administration relied on private industry to convert from the production of civilian goods to military hardware starting in 1940, when U.S. entry into the war became a distinct possibility. The mobilization of big business and its vaunted mass production capabilities on behalf of the war effort enabled the armed forces to bury the Axis under a virtual avalanche of weaponry that rolled off the assembly lines, or so the story goes, usually substantiated with references to the Kaiser shipyards and the Ford bomber plant in Willow Run, Michigan, which produced 4,600 B-24 Liberators using production techniques borrowed from the automobile industry. This portrait fits well with grand narratives of business and technology history that emphasize the pivotal role of large-scale corporations and mass production in American industrial development. Warship Builders argues that this understanding of industrial mobilization requires substantial rethinking to include batch formats, flexible specialization, disintegrated production, and skilled labor. Manufacturing systems that featured some or all of these characteristics have often been portrayed as distinctly European, but revisionist historians of American business and technology have documented their existence in industries as diverse as Philadelphia's 19th century textile manufacture and World War II aircraft production. Strengthening the revisionist case, this book documents similar structures and dynamics in warship building. Batch formats were particularly evident in the construction of heavy combatants, which were rarely built in series exceeding a dozen units. Flexible specialization, notably general-purpose production equipment suitable for diverse projects, enabled shipyards and their subcontractors to build a large variety of combatants. Disintegrated production formats involving hundreds of specialty firms was the norm, in an industry where no single corporation built under one roof the many subsystems that made up a complex naval weapons platform, including armor plate, fire control systems, guns, and propulsion systems, all of which were manufactured by outside suppliers. Skilled labor played a pivotal role on shop floors and slipways, where seasoned shipfitters and machinists performed tasks that required extensive craft training and practical experience. Design freezes, which were the name of the game in Liberty ship construction, proved difficult to achieve in warship building, because the Navy often changed blueprints and specifications while the ships were already under construction to ensure that designs incorporated recent combat experience. The technical and organizational imperatives of naval construction, in short, were often incompatible with task simplification, design freezes, and other Fordist practices. One reason for the inability to achieve so-called mass production methods in building fighting ships is that labor tasks on such ships cannot be made so specialized and repetitious as is possible in the production of merchant ships, a Harvard study explained after the war. A yard which produces fighting ships must inevitably develop a more versatile labor force with more skills per man than a yard which builds merchant ships exclusively, because fighting ships must have finer workmanship. Technical and managerial know-how acquired over years, if not decades, was critical. A shipyard that has never built a destroyer is simply lost in trying to do it. An admiral summed up the procurement philosophy of the Navy, which entrusted the construction of battleships, fleet carriers, cruisers, and other combatants to managers and workers well versed in the trade. In addition to investigating the salient features of naval shipbuilding, each chapter revisits interpretive questions raised by historians of industrial mobilization. How did pre-war developments shape the American war economy? Were the armed services instigators of technological innovation, or mere beneficiaries of civilian initiatives, as some scholars have argued? What was the role of the state in industrial mobilization? Written for those interested in the history of the U.S. Navy, business, technology, labor, and industrial mobilization, Warship Builders examines naval work with an emphasis on shipyard management and shop floor practices. Straddling naval and industrial history.